go, my son, Shapira?
Oh,
Where do you, because I try to, libraries don't have it, even to buy it, it's like $60-something to buy it.
let me see if I have it. I'll be happy to lend it to you.
I'll first in line to read it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I will see if I have it,
That's great.
and then we could take numbers.
Okay.
Okay.
Draw lots.
You could get used ones for much less.
Say it again?
Used.
You went on Amazon?
Amazon.
And
It was like one copy and it was very high price.
interesting.
No, you can get used ones.
Used ones, okay. I'm sure I always buy used ones. on
Okay.
Amazon.
Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam kol miyavaro.
But it is hard to find.
Yeah.
I looked.
Okay. I got you guys into it, huh?
Yes.
So so it's 7 days, but we say miktzat hayom kekulo. Part of the day is considered like the entire day. So the seventh day, so actually the day of the burial, that is day 1, even if it takes place late afternoon. And then the seventh day you just sit, so that's day 1, and then day 7 also it's just a small part of the day, and then we transition. So the reason I was late is someone got up from Shiva this morning. Today's the 7th day, but he finishes it in the morning, and then so traditionally there are some verses that we read with the person, which are verses that actually are in the Haftorah of these weeks. These are the weeks of consolation. So there are verses that speak about consolation. And then we go for a walk around the block, so to speak, go outside for a little bit of a walk to re-enter the world, to re-enter society. Shiva is meant to be this cocoon that just envelops a person and allows when the wound is very, very raw, and then they start to, the wound becomes less raw. It never goes away. You know, if you hurt yourself when it's very raw, you just like touch there, and you're in pain. After a while, you have a mark, but you can touch there without causing pain. But it's always there.
Isn't it also for the soul?
Yes. Yeah, and each stage that we have, the 7 days, the 30 days, the 11 months, the 12 months, all of that also correspond to the sojourn of the soul as it is making its way and settling into the new world where it is, where it will be.
And why, like a bris also after 7 days?
The brit is on the 8th day. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the 7th.
Yeah, so it's interesting, right? Now we've discussed the concept. 7 is the holiness within the system, so to speak. So we have 6 days. The 7th day is Shabbat. That's the holiness within this system. We have 6 months, Jewish months. The 7th month is already Tishrei. Okay? The 7th month is the month of Tishrei, which contains within it Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. That is the holiness within the cycle. It starts with Nisan, with Pesach, and it works its way till that month of all the holidays. We have 6 years of regular years, and then we have the 7th year is the Shemitah, the sabbatical year in Israel. We have when we do our 7th Shemitah cycle, then we have the Yovel, the Jubilee, the 50th year. So the 7th is always the holiness within the cycle. Pesach, right? Passover is 7 days. Sukkot is 7 days. And then we have the 8th. So the 8th always represents going beyond the system, going beyond the metaphysical, going beyond. That's why Brit Milah, circumcision, is on the 8th day, right? Because there we're going beyond the physical body as it is, and we are transcending, and we are actually fusing the physical and the spiritual. Right? That's what Brit Milah is. That Brit Milah represents that God gave us, women are perfect, but men need a little correction, right? So men needed to have that, we need to partner in God in bringing physical perfection to the body. And that from that we're meant to then transpose that and say, and just like we are tasked with bringing physical perfection, so too we are tasked with bringing spiritual perfection. So that's why Brit Milah comes on the eighth day.
In women, like physical perfection, like when she's pregnant, it is like 9 months. But actually 7, it's already also when the baby
Is viable.
Is
viable, yeah. Yeah.
In nature, like caterpillar in cocoon,
Right.
also about something 8 days, and then
I don't know,
becomes
could be.
a butterfly.
Could be, that I don't know. Cheryl, what were you
I
saying?
was just going to mention Hanukkah, which is...
Yes. So Shmini Atzeret is going beyond, right? That is like we say, Me'ein Olam Haba, like a touch of the world to come, right? Hanukkah is 8 days, yeah, many things, right? There are Sheva mitzvot b'nei Noach. There are 7 of the Noahide mitzvot. And then we go beyond that, right, with another 606 eighths, getting us to 613 mitzvot. So 7 is within the system, and then we catapult out of there.
Like in music, piano, octava. It's like,
Right.
but 7 notes. Well, I know in Russian this number, ABC.
Right.
But then 8, it's again.
Right. That's interesting. That's interesting. Right. In music we have, right? C, D, F, G, A, B, C. Yeah, back to 8. 1 and 8 are the same. Yeah, just 1 octave higher. Yeah.
In Russian,
Oh, that's actually beautiful. Because what happens in music, right, you go through 7 notes, right? And then by the 8th note, you're back at the same note, but you are a measure higher, right? And an octave higher, right? And that's what we're supposed to, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing, constantly going through a cycle and then, right, reaching a higher. Right? Like every Shabbat is meant to be, it's the 8th day from the previous Shabbat, but it's supposed to be an octave higher. That's a beautiful
in
idea.
Russian, like word family sounds семья, what means 7, me, 7.
Interesting. Okay, let us begin Parshat Re'eh, page 998. 998, Parshat Re'eh. Now, this entire book, the whole Sefer of Devarim, is Moshe speaking the last month, 45 days of his life, and reviewing different ideas, adding different ideas, but essentially preparing us for the long haul, for the entry into the land of Israel, and preparing us, the nation, for that which we will be enduring until the Messianic times. And he says, Re'eh, someone want to lead off for us over there? Re'eh Anochi. Kathy, don't be bashful.
ראה אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום ברכה וקט לילה.
Good.
את הברכה אשר תשמעו אל מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם היום. והקללה אם לא תשמעו el mitzvot Adonai Elohechem, v'sartem min haderech asher anochi metzaveh etchem hayom, lalechet acharei Elohim acherim asher lo yadatem.
Beautiful.
No, it's
Beautiful.
No, it's excellent.
That was great. Okay. All right. English. All right. Russian. No, I'm kidding. English. Someone.
See, I present before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing, that you hearken to the commandments of Hashem your God, that I command you today. And the curse, if you don't hearken to the commandments of Hashem your God, and you stray from the path that I command you today, to follow gods of others that you did not know.
Beautiful. Okay. Now, in the Hebrew, there is a nuance that gets lost in the English. The first verse in English: see, I present before you today a blessing and a curse. Right? Grammatically, that's all smooth, consistent, fine. Re'eh in Hebrew means see, but who is being addressed? A plural or a singular? Right? Re'eh, if I'm talking to a person, I say re'eh. If I'm talking to a community, to a group, what do I say? Re'u.
But he's addressing as a nation.
He's addressing the whole nation. And he starts off re'eh.
And then changes it.
Right? Anochi, no, I am placing lifnechem.
Y'all.
What's lifnechem? In front of y'all. Right? So it should either be re'u, you all should see, I'm placing lifnechem before you all, or it should be re'eh, anochi notein lifanecha, is a singular. I'm placing before you in the singular today, bracha and klala. So why is there this disparity?
Could it be like a command?
We don't understand those who don't read Hebrew, what you just said.
Okay, in English, you, right, I could say, I want you, or I want you. Right? You is referring to a single, you is referring to a group. Right? If we're from down south, there'll be you and there'll be y'all. Okay? So re'eh means, right, I want you to see that I'm placing before you all today. So why is this verse switching from the singular to the
because
plural?
He addresses the whole nation, but
So
every one of them have to follow.
Okay.
Very excellent.
Okay. So he's addressed. So let's start with that. Re'eh, see. Every single person needs to make their decisions. I'm placing before you biracha ukilala, blessing and curse. Re'eh anochi noten lifnechem hayom. What does hayom mean? Today. Right? Why is today different than any other day? Moshe's been talking now for 40 years. What's today?
His last day.
Sorry?
Re-ratification of the covenant.
Yes, but that day was not necessarily the day of the re-ratification of the covenant.
Okay.
Maybe because he feels that he knows that he's going to die. Or...
Yes, but okay, he does know that, but that we're going to hear actually in a few parshiot. He still has a lot more to say until then, right? A lot more to say.
Well, must be a day when he addresses. That's it.
Yes, okay. Why emphasize? Okay, fair enough, but then it's redundant. Of course, it's today. I'm not telling you tomorrow. I'm not telling you yesterday. I'm talking to you today. Dove?
Oh, about today, I don't know. For us, today is now.
Okay, that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
Right? Recognize that every day and perhaps every moment we have the choice of bracha or klala. Where are we going? What am I going to do with this moment that I have now? I'm speaking to someone. What am I going to do with these words right now? We're constantly faced. Now, bracha is a fascinating word. Bracha is a fascinating word. Look at the word bracha, right? The shoresh, the root of that word is bet, resh, chaf. Numerically, what is the numerical value of bet? 2. Of resh, 200. Of chaf, 20. So we have all of our 2s. We have the 2 in the single digits. We have the 2 in the tens digits. We have the 2 in the 100 digits. And that's as far as we go, right? With our alphabet, the Hebrew alphabet, and the gematria numerical values. We go 1 through 9. We go 10 through 90. Right? 10, 20, 30, 40, 70, 90. And we have 100, 200, 300, and 400. So all we have is single digits, tens, and hundreds. And we have the 2 of the singles, the 2 of the tens, and the 2 of the hundreds. And the Maharal points out very beautifully that the transition from 1 to 2 is the greatest transition. If you have 1 and now you have 2, you just had a 100% increase. When you go from 2 to 3, what do you have? A 50% increase. When you go from 3 to 4, you have a 33%, 33.3, etc. Right? And so on. Right? 4 to 5, 25%. 5 to 6, on and on and on. But the greatest increase is when you get to 2. Beracha then actually means increase. So when I say to make a bracha, what is increasing? What does that mean?
Our connection to Hashem?
Okay, right? So when we bless God, you think about it, it seems a little bit strange to bless God. Right? That's like me speaking to Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, and I bless you with financial success.
That means I'm blessed. I want myself.
Right? So, right, with God, who are we to bless God? Right? So, when God blesses us, I understand. What is the blessing that He gives us? An increase. We should have more. We should have children. We should have family. We should have the comforts of life. Right? That's the blessing that God gives to us. Right? What blessing are we giving to God? So that's very interesting. What we're saying is, Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. So we've mentioned before, Olam means world. But the root of the word Olam is Ayin Lamed Mem, which means hidden. Ne'elam, it's hidden from us. So the world is the place where God hides Himself in order to enable us to have free will and make decisions that we own, that become a part of us, and allow us to barech, to grow, to increase. So we're saying, God, you are the Melech, you are the ruler, the sovereign ruler over the Olam, over the world, where you conceal yourself. But what do we want you to do? Conceal yourself a little bit less. Increase. Increase what? Your presence. Your perceptible existence. Your availability. But bracha is the epitome of growth. And we realize that when we connect to bracha, what happens to us? We grow. We get greater. We become bigger. Not necessarily physically bigger, right? At this point, we're mostly shrinking and getting bigger in the wrong places. We try to watch that, right? But bigger in terms of who and what we really are, right? God is referred to as Gadol. In the Amidah, we say Akel, Hagadol, Hagibor V'Hanora. Gadol. What do we mean when we say God is big? Gadol is a reference to his midah, attribute of chesed, of kindness. And we use that term. If someone does something that is very, very selfless, very generous,
How big of you?
that was very big of that person. That was so big of you. Why is that big? Because we are limited to who we are. Right? We say in Pirkei Avot, Im ein ani mili. If I'm not concerned about myself, who will be? But the im ani la'atzmi, ma ani. Right? If I am just for myself, ma ani. What am I? Right? But when we do it for others, we become that much bigger. Right? We're not just ourselves, we are extending ourselves out to others, becoming that much bigger. When we do something that is ruchani, that is spiritual, when we do something that is spiritual, what happens? We are becoming that much bigger than ourselves, than our simple physical selves. We are touching worlds beyond ourselves. We are bringing ourselves to worlds, to spiritual worlds that are beyond ourselves. That is a bracha. So Re'eh, as Allah, you said, Moshe is not speaking now as a community. He's speaking to a community of individuals. Re'eh, every single person needs to see. Anochi notein, I'm placing before you Beracha and klala. Right? You have the ability to grow, to become so big, so beyond, or you have the ability to cut yourself off, to become so small. That's what klala is. Right? Are you going to become just completely enwrapped in yourself, or are you looking to become as big, right, as great? Lifnechem hayom. So I wrote about this in our weekly newsletter. It's going to go out later today, right? Before you, first of all, the Gemara says, in terms of the you, and then we'll get to the all. The Gemara says, and the hayom today, the Gemara says every person needs to look at themselves that I am in perfect balance between the good and the not so good. I do some good things, I do some not such good things. I help people sometimes, I ignore people sometimes. All right, I'm careful with my words, I'm careless with my words. Right? A person should view themselves as being perfectly in balance. And therefore, what I'm going to do this moment is going to tilt the balance of where I'm really at. And a person views themselves in such a way, they recognize the importance of hayom, of each thing that we're doing. The Gemara goes further and says, don't just view yourself as being in balance. View the entire world as being in balance. Right? And therefore, right, your next action doesn't just affect you, not just the re'eh, but it affects the lifnechem. It affects Ya'al. It affects the entire world. So that's on a certain cosmic level that the Gemara says. But on even a much more simple level, right? If I come to davening, right, when other people come, right, oh, there are more people there. So that's then inspiring, right? That's inspiring that I want to come, right? If I'm enthusiastic, then other people also become enthusiastic. If I'm, oh, right, I'll go, right? So then everyone else who might have been excited about going just feels that drag. It feels that, Saturday Night Live used to have a character, Debbie Downer. You guys remember Debbie Downer, right? You want to go onto YouTube and see some funny clips. Go looking for Debbie Downer, right? Everything is like, oh, right? No matter how excited, they go to Disney World, right? She gets Pluto depressed. Everyone, there's some people who just, not necessarily some people, but at times we can just pull things down. So we have to understand, lifnechem, right? That we're not just responsible for ourselves, but we also are responsible for our environment and the effect that we have on that environment. So it's talking to the individuals, but it is lifnechem. We all affect one another. We are all constantly affecting those around us. And something I say so often, it's amazing. You're checking out of a store. A smile is an amazing thing. You're checking out of a store and the person there seems to be a little bit harried. Smile. And you'll see then they undergo a change. Right? They undergo a change. All of a sudden it's not quite as onerous what they're doing. Checking out people, and there's a rush and there's a line and people are getting impatient. It's just we have a very profound effect on the environment around us, on the state of mind of people around us, without even realizing it. The Bali Musar say that our face is Reshut Harabim, which means public domain, right? Because you are presenting it to everyone all around you. And if you are, right, if you have a nice, right, smile, warmth to your face, then that is what is exuded, and that is what people feel, and that's what people respond to. And if you are, right, then people see that, and it's amazing. A baby, Rav Volbe writes, a baby, right? An infant. Smile at an infant, right? Give an angry face at an infant, you'll see the classic boo-boo. Right, the lip goes out. It's hysterical. It's amazing. An infant senses already that which is being exuded by our face. The face is a reshut harabim. It's public domain. And there are many, many great people who, even though they might have undergone a personal loss, tragedy, whatever was troubling them, right? But they would be sure to exude a happiness and a goodness and a warmth, because why should my troubles bring everyone else down? Now, there is an idea, if you're down, have some confidants, have people that you speak to who will help you get up, right? We don't sequester ourselves onto an island and not reach out to others, but in general, right? We try, we do our best to exude that.
Well, I was watching a PBS show, and even animals can tell the difference between human expressions. Not only that, but they even have expressions themselves. But they showed horses, and they put this big poster of somebody looking really not happy. The horse just stayed away. And then they put a picture of somebody, a poster of a smiling person, and the horses went right over to it.
Interesting.
Isn't
Right.
that amazing?
I would imagine that with the horses, I would imagine with animals, that's a learned skill. Whereas animals that have been around people probably have learned That face means you want to stay away. He hasn't had his coffee. That face means we're going to get a couple of oats, right? So we should walk
But
over.
they still can
But
distinguish.
but they distinguish. They pick. Yeah, that is
I
fascinating.
know.
That is
I thought
fascinating.
so too.
Yes, Janet.
So, a little bit of, does that mean we need an eruv around our face?
A mask,
And then,
maybe.
on a more
Hopefully not.
On a more serious note, about this balance, is it okay to actually pray for an increase in Yetzer Tov and a diminution of Yetzer Ra?
Sure.
Because they always say that it's going to be equally strong, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But,
Yes.
so does it ever happen? That
That's a
you-
bracha we say in the morning. Okay, that's no, we don't have to sit here.
And,
Right, Shetagileinu b'Toratecha v'davikeinu v'al tzvienu lo l'dei right? V'davikeinu b'Yetzer HaTov. Let us cling to Yetzer HaTov, to the good inclination, u'masim tovim, and to good deeds. Let me just get that bracha one second.
Right. And also
Right,
verse
that's
says,
one of our morning blessings.
let us not be in the influence of the evil inclination. But it isn't the construct that they're all, if you have a strong Yetzer Tov, you're going to have a strong Yetzer Ra.
Starting on page 18
Yes.
in the Siddur, in the one that we use here in the shul, we have a whole string of morning blessings. Okay? And this is a beautiful way not to take anything for granted. Pokeach ivrim. You open up the eyes of the blind. We wake up in the morning and we can see. We take that for granted, but be around a person who can't see, and you realize you can't take that for granted. I know my way around the hallway, my office, the bathroom area. I've been here 11 years now, right? I've been there once or twice over 11 years, right? It was amazing to me when we had that blackout. We had that blackout about a month ago, I think it was, right? On the Friday night, right? And Natalie we had a dinner in shul that night. So we were all eating in the tent. Now there are these emergency lights that go on in the tent, right? So we were able to have a very very romantic ambiance dinner with about 50 people there, right? But in the building was pitch black, and I had problems finding my way around and getting to the bathroom, right? I mean, I've done this tens of thousands of times. I've walked the hallways here, right? But all of a sudden, it's pitch black, right? And pokeach ivrim, right? That's one of the blessings we make. Malbish arumim, that we get dressed, right? We can stand up, we can sit up, we can stand up. All of these things not to take for granted. The last of the blessings is, bless you Hashem, our God, King of the universe, who removes sleep from our eyes and slumber from our eyelids. May it be your will, Hashem, our God and God of our forefathers, that you accustom us to study your Torah and attach us to your commandments. Do not bring us into the power of error, nor into the power of transgression, nor into the power of challenge, nor into the power of scorn. Let not the evil inclination dominate us. Distance us from an evil person and an evil companion. Attach us to the good inclination, to good deeds. Compel our evil inclination to be subservient to you. Grant us today and every day grace, kindness, mercy in your eyes, in the eyes of all who see us, and bestow beneficent kindness upon us. That's an important one. Chasadim tovim, good kindness. Isn't kindness always good? Not always. Not always. How many good things did we pray for and then all of a sudden it wasn't so good? And how many things did we dread and ended up being good for us? So chesed, we want chasadim tovim. We want good kindness. And that shows our faith that when it doesn't go the way we want, I guess that wouldn't have been best. Right? I think Uzi always likes to say, when you say to him, how are you? He always say, couldn't be better. If it could be better, God would have made it better. That's chasadim tovim. We end off Baruch Atah Hashem, Gomel chasadim tovim, who bestows beneficent kindness, ala Mo Yisroel, to his people Israel, to his nation Israel. So yes, we do ask that we shouldn't have to We shouldn't have the tzarot and the challenges. We don't put ourselves into a place of challenge. When we are faced with a challenge, right, and we are constantly faced with challenges throughout our day, some big, some small, so then we need to recognize Re'eh lifnechem, singular, plural. We affect all those around us. We don't always realize that Rabbi Mandakon Zechron Livracha, who was the manal of the yeshiva that I taught at, he passed away tragically at a relatively young age. But I shared the story before, but it's a great story to have in your arsenal. So the guy is driving to work one day, right? And there's a lot of traffic. We don't know about such thing in California. There's a lot of traffic, right? And there's a guy who's trying to get into his lane, and he slows down, waves the person in, right? The guy gives a wave, thank you, right? And he feels really good about himself. They're driving another couple of miles, which takes another few hours, right? And then all of a sudden, he's stuck in the lane that's not moving, and he wants to get over there, but no one's letting him in. And then he sees the guy that he let in a mile back. And he signals to the guy, right? And the guy just ignores him and keeps on going, right? And he is furious. He is furious. This guy, right? I let him in. He didn't let me in. And he just can't get over it. I got stuck and I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Right? And the whole day, right? He gets to work and he's in a really bad mood and he's angry with the secretary and with the boss and you name it, right? His wife calls, what do you want, right? He's right? By the end of the day, this guy he's just steaming, right? And he can't get the picture of this guy out of his mind. Gets into the elevator, going down, right? He's on the 5th floor, going out the 1st floor. Elevator stops at the 3rd floor, and that guy walks in, and he looks at him, and he goes, you, because of you, my wife's angry, my boss is angry, my secretary's angry, I lost 2. And he says to him, I'm sorry, do I know you? Have we ever met? So on one hand, right, we have to be so careful. We don't know what we might be causing to other people, right? That guy had no idea how much pain, even he knew about it, right? Maybe I don't know, right? How much pain he might be causing another person. I just saw such a beautiful thing. This is for children. I get this. I'm always looking for material for the kids when I speak to the kids. A beautiful thing of a kid who went into a store. His mother told him, don't touch it, right? And he picks up a vase. And it seemed to be a sturdy vase, but it had a hairline crack. So he picked it up, it broke. Right? From a halachic point of view, putting aside the kid's a minor, right? But you broke it, you're responsible. But I didn't know that it had a hairline crack. Granted, you didn't know. Had you not touched it, had you not picked it up, it wouldn't have been a problem. Once you picked it up, now you are responsible for that. But then, insurance hopefully, yeah, right? Now, sometimes you might say something to a person. And it was just an offhand comment, right? It shouldn't have gotten someone so upset. It shouldn't have hurt someone. It shouldn't have sent someone off the deep end. But you don't know, that person might have had this hairline fracture they're walking around with today. Right? Who knows what their spouse said to them or didn't say to them, or one of their kids said or didn't say, or who knows what news they might have heard that day. They might have gotten a doctor's report back, and all of a sudden their whole world is crashing down. You see them, they're perfectly fine. You don't know they've got that hairline fracture. You don't know what they're going through. And your little word, it was just an offhanded comment, that could send them off the cliff. right? We don't know, right? At the same time that we are accepting responsibility and a sense of ownership for how we are affecting others, at the same time we have to be careful not to give others ownership over ourselves. This comes up, this person said this to me, right? Okay, they said it. Why are you allowing them to control you, your mind, your feelings, your mood? Right? In that story, we really have both of those very important concepts. We want to try to do our best to take responsibility for the effect we have on others. At the same time, we have to know not to give others ownership over ourselves. Someone smiles, great, smile back, feel good. If someone has a word to say, or whatever it might be, right, they voice their displeasure about this, don't give them the ownership over you, right? And they said that, that's how they feel, right? Other people love me, okay? And I get on with life. And I'm not going to I'm not giving them ownership over myself, my mood, my feelings, my self-esteem, and
But
how I view
generally
myself.
It happens this way.
Sorry?
But generally it's happened this way.
It's something that everyone struggles with. It's not something that, the rabbi said not to do it, so I won't do it anymore.
It's nature-wise.
It's nature, but it's something. I think what I've found with myself and with others is sometimes when we could realize, I'm not going to give them ownership. Just hearing it that way helps us. I mean, at times I think it helps that, that's what I'm doing, right? I'm giving my mood over to them. They own my mood. They own my self-assessment, my self-esteem. They don't own it, right? They can own their own, and they can own their words, but I will not allow them, even though it's a struggle, I will not allow them to control me. Yes, Jan, I want to go a little further.
Based on time together from previous lessons, if you do let that ownership go away, that might be one of the sources of the sinat chinam, because then, like you said in the story with the guy with the traffic, he ended up transferring.
Correct.
What is
Sinat chinam is baseless or over exaggerated hatred or animosity. Yeah.
And so one construct, we've said is, even though we ask for this and we're conscious of it every day, is no matter what, supposedly the Yetzer Hara is pretty much as strong. If you get a stronger Yetzer Hara, Yetzer Tov, you get a stronger Yetzer Hara, or can it ever be that you'll get a really diminished Yetzer Hara and still a strong Yetzer Tov? See, that's why I'm saying.
So a person, we are born to have challenges, right? That's how we say. Why do bad things happen to good people, right? Or why is there bad in the world? I like to say that's like asking, why are there obstacles on an obstacle course? Or why are there weights in a weight room? Right? I mean, why are there weights in the weight room? It makes it so much harder to lift things up. Just have feathers there instead of weights. Why do they put them? And why do they put obstacles in the obstacle course? Let me just run straight through. Right? Now, if we're looking at life is meant to be a non-stop Maui beach. If that's what life is meant to be, so then we have questions. Why is everything not going perfectly? But if life is meant to be a mission we are sent on to accomplish, and what are we supposed to accomplish? Bracha. What's bracha? Increase. To become a bigger, better, more godly person. Right? We're going to define bracha is the mitzvot. What is a mitzvah? I like to say a mitzvah is an opportunity for a physical person in a physical world to go beyond, to touch that which is beyond this physical world, to touch the spiritual. That's what a mitzvah is. A mitzvah is bringing godliness down into the world. Whether it's a mitzvah between us and God or a mitzvah between us and one another, that's what a mitzvah is. So if the world is meant to be a mission, the soul is given a body, is given a vehicle, and says, go out there and do something special. So then there needs to be some challenges along the way. Why are there weights in the weight room? Because the weight room is a place that is meant to help build up your body. And when there's resistance, you build up your body. An obstacle course is a place that's meant to test your skills and take your latent potential and turn it into actual ability. Right? The problem is we confuse the spa for the weight room. Right? We think the world is supposed to be a spa. Right? So you go into a spa, you don't expect to see weights all around over there. You want to see nice, comfortable recliners. You want to see pina colada. That's what you want to see. But we think life is meant to be the spa, but it's meant to be